Namaskar, Namaste, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, learners, listeners, scholars, students, colleagues, professionals, and officials, doctors and ministers. I, Dr. Rakesh, researched in USA. I welcome all. I thank God who has provided us the valuable time for knowing the research. Thanks. Today and now here we are learning how to explicate, interpret, analyze, evaluate and outline the resources for research. One is important thing, that is there are important stages in critical thinking. The first step in critical thinking is to become fully conscious of an idea. Then follows the stages explication. First stage is explication, second is interpretation, third is analysis, fourth is evaluation, and fifth is outlining. Let us deal with them one by one. A warning to the scholar: the differences among the four concepts explication, interpretation, analysis and evaluation are rather fluid as they frequently overlap. For instance, it is difficult to say where explication stops and interpretation begins. All the four stages are virtually indistinguishable from a practical point of view, though may be mutually exclusive theoretically. Explication. The term explication is defined as developing the meaning of an idea by the OED. The aim of explication is to make the meaning of a literary text clear. The term comes from the Latin explicate, meaning to unfold. Explication is the first step in critical thinking. Critical thinking does not mean negative thinking, and it does not aim at finding fault as when one criticizes another person for doing something wrong. The essence of critical thinking is thinking beyond the obvious. The person who thinks critically goes beyond the visual images, glossy advertisements, evasive statements, manipulations of loaded language and faulty reasoning. Ways to think critically: first is become fully aware of an idea or an action. Second, reflect on it. Third, react to it. Explication, as stated earlier, is a prior condition to effective critical thinking. Explication is a dynamic process and interpretation and interaction between the brain and the printed matter. Explication operates as three levels. First is literal, inferential and evaluative. Literal level: finding out the literal meaning is the first step in explication. It is not as easy as it sounds, because literal meaning may lie hidden in the text, and the difficult style of the author may prevent us from entering the text. If the writer's style is complex, the process of finding out the literal meaning becomes slow and repeated readings become necessary. Next is inferential level. To understand the inferential meaning, we must become familiar with the literal meaning, as the inferential meaning is very often suggested and implicit. The scholar has to work hard to get it. The inferential meaning may be sometimes totally different from the literal meaning. When we begin to understand the differences between the two, we are on our way to a critical analysis of the text. To deduct the inferential meaning, check the following: tone of the writing, bias or prejudice, fact and opinion. Is the tone friendly, pompous, sarcastic, cautious or highly emotional? Is the text distorted by hatred or dislike of individuals, groups or people or ideas, prejudices or partisanship? Facts can be verified. Opinions are statements of personal beliefs. Does the writer intentionally blur the distinction between fact and opinion? Evaluative level. We reach this level of explication only after the first two. To evaluate successfully, we need an overall assessment of the soundness of the author's arguments. We have to find out whether there was any bias in the writing. In evaluation, we critically estimate the worth of the work at hand. First, interpretation. Interpretation is also a very important part of critical thinking. The OED defines interpretation as the explanation of the meaning of words or the meaning of a work of an art. The term comes from the Latin term interpres, meaning to explain. Close reading is necessary for interpretation. Annotating is another method that assists interpretation. Examine closely what we read and try to find out different interpretations. Interpretation of the text gives its contents multiple dimensions. Tips of interpretation. Ask these questions to yourself. What is the theme of the work? What is the theme of the work? How are particular parts of the work related to the theme? Is any pattern discernible in the work? What message does not author convey? Why does the work end as it does? Next is analysis. The OED defines analysis as the detailed examination of the elements of a structure. In the context of research, analysis means the examination of the primary and the secondary sources. The sources materials have to be broken up into constituent parts. The materials are the evidence for the researcher, based on which he or she comes to conclusions. When analyzes the evidence, the scholar has to apply logic. Analysis also involves reading between the lines to draw inferences. Sometimes the information will be implied but not stated. Analysis is sometimes called division. It divides things up into the parts. It examines the relation between the parts of the whole. In literary analysis, we discuss our ideas and insights about a work of fiction, poetry, or drama. To know the work well and to gather ideas for analysis, read the work thoroughly again and again, looking for patterns. Next is evaluation. What is evaluation? The OED defines evaluation as assessment or appraisal. Evaluation must be made after analysis only. Some scholars are tempted to evaluate the material before properly assessing it. If proper analysis is not done before evaluation, for scholar may go horribly wrong. There are numerous examples for such erroneous evaluation in literary history. The scholar must always remember that even great critics had erred in their assessment of literary merits. Dr. Johnson, for example, thought that Abraham Cowley was a greater poet than Milton. In evaluating evidence, this is an important aspect of research. The researcher must base his claims on solid evidence. The claims and conclusions must always be based on solid evidence. Some questions are useful in evaluating evidence. Is the evidence sufficient? Is it representative? Is it evidence relevant? Is it accurate? Is the evidence qualified? Let us look at the last question and its implications. When we see claims such as certainly, always, all, or never advanced about a particular work or another, we must remember that there is every possibility of the claim being disqualified, even if there is one exception. However, words such as some, many, possibly, may, often, or usually are safe because conclusions will become more acceptable and believable. Remember that today's facts may be revised as time passes, and as we gain more knowledge. Next is outlining. How to outline the resources. An outline is an important constituent of the research process. Actually, its importance is somewhat equal to the importance of a blueprint in the construction of a building. For the building to have a proper shape, the blueprint must be perfect. Moreover, it must be strictly followed to get the desired results. The outline in a thesis can tell us how the thesis is going to be organized. The supervisor can suggest changes at that stage and save us much time. An outline can be formal or